Well, the latest fight in Washington is not merely between Democrats and Republicans. The conservative Tea Party caucus is playing a very strong role in how negotiations do or do not move forward. This morning on the House floor, one Democrat begged for some stability from the other side.
There's apparently a wall between the Tea Party Republicans and the mainstream Republicans who would like to move this country forward. Mr. Speaker, tear down that wall.
So, what is the Tea Party's next move? What's the GOP's next move? Joining me live now, veteran Republican Texas Congressman Joe Barton, a member of the Tea Party caucus. Congressman, good to see you.
Good to see you.
There seems to be a little bit of confusion about who's actually calling the shots in the GOP right now, in the House specifically. This quote is on the front page of the New York Times today. Asked what the House was doing, Representative Devin Nunes, Republican of California, said, oh, you really have to call Cruz. I'm not even joking about that. That's really what you have to do because he's the one that set up the strategy. He's the one that got us into this mess. And so we've got to know what the next move is. So who really is calling the shots here, Congressman? Is it Speaker Boehner or is it Texas Senator Ted Cruz?
Well, first of all, I am a Tea Party congressman, so I are one, so to speak. And I don't think there's any wall in the House between Devin Nunes and me. We're both on the same side. We don't like Obamacare. We don't like excessive government. We don't like excessive spending. As for Ted Cruz, he's my senator. He's a friend of mine. I had lunch with him this past Thursday. He does compliment the House of Representatives and the Republican majority on what we're doing.
Is he calling the shots?
He is not calling the shots.
Who's calling the shots?
I think President Obama is calling the shots.
He's calling the shots in the House?
By refusing to negotiate. We want to go to conference with the Senate. We pass these bills that don't even get taken up in the Senate by Majority Leader Reid. The president says he'll negotiate with terrorists overseas, but he won't negotiate with Speaker Boehner on how to keep the government going.
I knew you were going to trot out that talking point at some point in this interview.
That's not a talking point.
It's a total talking point. It's a talking point you guys have been using for 5 days. And that's not
well,
even...
then talk to us. Then have the president talk to us.
I want to play a snippet for our audience. This is you on the House floor just a few, maybe about an hour or two ago. Take a listen.
I would ask my friends on the minority side, if Obamacare is so great, why does it have to be mandatory? Let's make it voluntary. Republicans happen to support many of the things in it.
Congressman,
I think that's a good idea. Let's try it for a year.
Of course you do. You just said it an hour and a half ago.
I agree with myself.
Is continuing to talk about Obamacare and continue to use all your time on the floor, is that really the most effective use of time right now?
Well, you listen to me. I mean, I don't. You just ran the clip. But I think a volunteer. I think let the people choose for a year.
But the people have chosen.
No, the people didn't choose. It passed by one vote when the Democrats had the majority in the House.
Congressman,
and it barely passed the Senate 3 years ago.
The House represents the people at last check. The House voted for it. The president signed it.
I didn't vote for it.
The Supreme Court signed off on it. The president
won the 5-4 vote. It's very questionable.
The Supreme Court signs off on it. The president wins an election that was largely seen as a referendum on Obamacare. At what point do you stop this little silly game? At what point do you stop?
First of all, I don't think Governor Romney made Obamacare a key part of his presidential campaign.
What campaign were you looking at? Like, what campaign were you watching?
But, you know, let's try it for a year on a voluntary basis and see. Let the American people choose. If it's really good, like the Democrats say it is, the people will choose it and it'll work. If it's really bad, like Republicans like myself say, people won't choose it, and then we'll come back next year and determine how to either repeal it or fix it. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Congressman, there's a Quinnipiac poll out right now. It shows that American voters disapprove 74 to 17% of the job that Republicans in Congress are doing. Lowest score ever in that particular poll. There's a CBS poll out now. 44% of Americans blame Republicans in Congress for shutting down the government compared to 35% blaming Democrats. Is it fair to say that you don't really care about these numbers because you're one of the many Republicans in Congress that's in a pretty safe district. This could go on for 4 or 5 weeks, and it really wouldn't affect you at all politically. Is that accurate?
That's not accurate. I care about this country. I want it to succeed. I think the huge fight that we really need to be fighting is on the debt ceiling. You know, I don't want to see a debt that's 200% of GDP. But in terms of listening to my constituents, the people in the 6th District of Texas almost universally, not quite universally, but almost, are very supportive of the fight that we're having here in Washington. They want to see Obamacare replaced or repealed. They want to see federal spending come down.
But they don't want to see the government open for business.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, but they understand when you have these kind of watershed moments, there has to be a debate. This is a watershed moment that you guys have created. It didn't have to be a watershed moment. No, sir. No Republican voted for Obamacare in the House, and no Republican voted for Obamacare in the Senate.
Congressman, you continue to talk about Obamacare. Are you aware that the program itself was rolled out just a few days ago?
I'm aware that it's in certain parts of the country where the exchanges actually are operational, that some people have been able to apply, and apparently some people have enrolled.
And you think that it's reasonable to expect that the Senate and that the President of the United States would, in any way, shape, or form, repeal Obamacare, adjust Obamacare? This is something that you really believe in your heart of hearts.
I don't believe Obamacare, as it is the law, will ever really work. I do believe that parts of it will work. That is the issue.
No, that's not the issue right now. The issue right now is reopening the government. That's the issue, and you know that. You know that.
Well, but parts of Obamacare are part of the continuing resolution. There are some discretionary elements in it.
Congressman, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate it when I can get folks on who talk about the issues. I appreciate you doing some of it.